That's okay. Whatever you are, be a good one. And unfortunately, we all are jealous of each other. And we try to be like each other instead of just own who we really are. And that's what leadership is at its core, is own who you really are and be the best one you can be, and stop trying to be what society wants you to be, or what I want you to be, or what your spouse wants you to be. Like, you have to really own who and what you really are. Yeah.
Welcome to Biz Help for You, the show that saves you the expensive learning curve by providing advice from industry experts in every facet of the entrepreneurial journey. Too many small businesses collapse. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 20% fail within their first year, and less than 35% make it to their 10th anniversary. The goal of this podcast is to change that statistic. So if you're interested in learning more to be a successful entrepreneur, tune in today.
Let me tell you a little bit about my guest today. Alan experienced adversity at an early age when he lost his father in a car accident at 2 years old. Later, at 26, a near-fatal car accident prompted him to evaluate his life and the choices he was making. Faced with a personal low point, he decided to change his life's trajectory. Despite a successful corporate career, he made the challenging decision to establish his own business aimed at helping others reach the next level in various aspects of their lives, including life, love, health, and wealth. As the CEO of Next Level University Podcast, a globally top-ranked podcast with over 1,500 episodes and listeners in 150 plus countries, Alan's journey and expertise offers valuable inspiration and insights if you are striving for personal growth and success. So Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I mentioned this right before we started, and I said, and this is just so true to me, I started listening to podcasts 9 years ago, and they definitely helped me change the trajectory of my life. Just whatever's in your ears, whatever's in your mind changes everything, changes what you think about, what you do. And so I'm just very grateful to be here. I do not take it lightly to speak into the lives of others. So I'm excited. I've been an entrepreneur technically since 2012, which we can get into, but for particularly the last 9 years. And I've been a successful entrepreneur for only the last probably 4.
There's always those ups and downs. But before we get into talking about that too, I would love for you just to share your story of how you began your company.
Okay, so the origin story thing is tough because I'm always wondering what amount of context I should provide, particularly on an interview that's, I'm trying to condense 35 years into 10 minutes, which is not easy. I often joke, I'm hoping to hit puberty at 36. So I'm 35 and I look 15, which helps me so much in business coaching. But anyways, so I didn't understand. The first thing to understand is I didn't understand any of this at the time. And 9 years ago, when I started listening to podcasts, I would realize these people have it all figured out, and they're so articulate, and they tell these stories so well, and they're such strong communicators. And I thought, my goodness, if I could be like that one day. And so now here I am making it sound like I have it all figured out. And so I want to make sure everyone knows before I tell the story. Excuse me, I've rewatched the movie of my own life as an adult. It's kind of like when you watch a movie as a kid and you don't fully get it, and then you see it again as an adult and you're like, oh, got it. Jokes you didn't understand before, references, metaphors, the theme of the movie, you get it. And so I feel like that in my life. Again, I'm only 35, but I feel like I get it in my 30s more than I used to. So started off in adversity for sure. I get into WPI and I get tons of scholarship and financial aid. I was the obnoxious guy at the award ceremony that might as well not sit down. And I got to go. I achieved my dream. I got in and I was able to go. Computer engineering, bachelor's. And then I went and did my master's in MBA. And then internships and that kind of thing. And computer engineering was brutal, by the way, just absolutely brutal. But did it. Go into corporate. And at this point, I had been a broke high school student and a broke college student. So this was when it got weird for me. I started making a lot of money, and it's not like I had a lot of expenses. So I made 60. I went from 65 to 85, 85 to 105, 105 to 125, 125 to 180. I now understand computer engineers are just really sought after. every company needs computer engineers and there's just not enough of us. So I get it, right? But at the time it was just like, whoa, this is awesome, right? And so I job hopped. I worked for iRobot. I worked for Sensata Technologies, a bunch of different tech companies, Oz Development, Tyco Safety Products, Simplex Grinnell, Lens Americas. I eventually landed at a company called Cognex. Cognex sells industrial automation equipment into manufacturing facilities all across New England, all across the world, rather. I was inside sales, and then I got promoted to outside sales. And then my territory as an outside sales engineer was Vermont, Connecticut, and Western Mass. I'm on the road. I'm selling machine vision equipment, kind of like the eyes of robots, quality assurance stuff. And that's when I get in my car accident. So now, at the time when I was graduated college, I decided, and I know how cocky this might come off as, and I'm working hard to be vulnerable and courageous and just be honest. I decided to get wealthy after college because up to that point, I saw the pain that it caused to not have any money. And so I just decided to be wealthy. And so, as wild as that might sound to some people, I put $84,000, paid it off, college debt in a single year back in 2014. I had $150,000 in an investment account for Vanguard with all the tech companies that I knew would win, or that I had high probability that would win. I don't knew they would win, but I bought a lot of Cognex. I bought ETFs. I bought tech companies that I thought would win, bet on the future. And I was just crushing it. And I was a top 1% earner in my early 20s, going from a broke high schooler and college kid. And now I'm really sought after. But here's the thing. I have a beautiful girlfriend named Courtney at the time. My rent is $500 a month because I'm splitting it with her, and it's a small place. And I bought a 2004 Volkswagen Passat with $5,000 cash. That ended up saving my life. I'll get to that. Because I just didn't want to spend any money. I just wanted to invest it all. And I'm a big math science guy, so it just made sense to me. And I worked a bunch. So I become a 1% global earner. Global, I need to say that because in the US, the 1% is 450, something like that. I think it was like 3 back then. But the point is I get in my own car accident and I was supposed to yield and didn't. I look up and I see the brightest lights I'd ever seen. And I thought it was a Mack truck. Fortunately, 2 things saved my life. Number one, the 2004 Volkswagen Passat that I mentioned that I bought in $5,000 cash to save money is I used to call this car the Tank. And it's a German engineered steel trap of a car, heavy car. Both airbags did deploy, and he hurt his face on the airbag. He hurt his knee on the airbag. I hurt my face on the airbag. We were good. The second thing that saved my life is it was not a Mack truck. It was a lift-kitted pickup truck. A lot of those up in New Hampshire. And so, but here's the thing. I had that moment of this without a question when I saw those lights, like, this is it. This is the end. There's no way we survive this. So the fact that we survived, I've seen pictures of my dad's car. And I've seen pictures of my Volkswagen. I usually show them in my speeches. They don't look very different. This is the second chance that my dad never got. And what am I going to do with it? And at that point, I was just physically, I was okay, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I was completely shattered. I mean, talk about Phoenix burning down, rising from the ashes. My ego, everything I thought I was, my quarter life existential crisis of like, what is the point? And unfortunately, a lot of us don't ask that question until mortality. And so I got my quarter life crisis, and I got the second chance my dad never got. And the best way I can describe it now is I was successful before 26. I was achievement oriented and I was professionally developed, LinkedIn, cover letter, and I was improvement oriented towards those achievements, but I wasn't self-improvement oriented. I wasn't personal development. I was professional development, not personal development. I hadn't dealt with my trauma from my past. I hadn't dealt with the birth father, the stepdad, the losing 3 families. Like, I hadn't explored any of that. I was just running in the direction of achievement and significance. And I was super successful, but deeply unfulfilled. Then, after the car accident, I flipped the script. I went all the way past broke, and I ended up super fulfilled and not successful at all, which, by the way, also sucks. because you're fulfilled, but you can't sustain your lifestyle. So you end up having to do things you don't want to do. And then now I'm very grateful. 9 years later, I'm now both successful and fulfilled. And again, successful and fulfilled are relative, but that's really the three buckets that I work with people on now. Is the first bucket prior to the car accident is what I call the unfulfilled success. Someone who has achieved most of their dreams and is on the path to their dreams, and they're not fulfilled, and they don't really know it, and they don't know why, and they're kind of on autopilot, and they're still drinking and hanging out and partying and meaningless relationships and that kind of stuff. And then other people that are really fulfilled and aligned and know themselves in personal development and self-improvement, but they're not that successful. That's actually wildly common. We've got these professionally developed, non-emotionally developed people that win in the economy. Then you've got these well-developed, heart-driven, holistic, wonderful humans who don't win in the economy. That's been wild. Not always, but a lot of the time. And then the third bucket is the bucket that my new client Yvette is in, which is, listen, I'm already successful. I'm already deeply fulfilled. I want my life to be an amplified version of what it already is. Help me scale it. And that's hopefully the bucket that everyone eventually gets to, that I've finally gotten to, which is the only reason why I can be a guide, actually, is because I've been through those buckets.
Right. Well, and you're calling it peak performance, right? And so I'd love for you to share, like, why is it important for the entrepreneurs then looking to maximize their potential for their business growth? Like, why is that such a big deal?
So if you intend on having a team, which if you're going to grow and scale anything, yeah, you kind of have to. Otherwise, you're going to do everything yourself, which is not sustainable. I've tried. So I have a 21-person team now, and the bills have gotten much larger,
Right.
Which is just wild, honestly. And 21's not a lot to some, but to me, that's a big deal.
That's decent.
And the reason why peak performance and personal development and self-improvement matter most is because of leading by example. Leading a dynamic team of multi-generational, multicultural, multi-countryal, that's not a word, it requires the ability to lead by example and to have both professional development and personal development. And so peak performance is this optimal stopping problem between the different leadership styles. And so the best way I can describe peak performance is Goldilocks. It's Aristotle used to talk about how people say we'll do the right thing. And it's just really ignorant, because who can do the right thing in the right way, at the right time, for the right reason, in the right amount, with the right people? That's leadership. Axe can build a house or kill someone. So it's who does the right thing. Okay, well, murder is bad. Yes, of course. But if someone's attacking your children, all of a sudden it's self-defense, right? So you just have to be a leader that can adapt and evolve, but also there's certain things that never change. And that's the culture of your organization. So for me, tracking habits, every team member tracks habits. And also your company needs to have a paradigm. And so peak performance is, in my opinion, this duality between I have to adapt, evolve, and flex with the marketplace, clients, customers, community, team, myself, my life, family, right? But there's certain things that never flex. There's certain things that never miss. Those are the core values of your organization, because they're the core values of you.
You're talking about being a leader and in all of these areas. And I think a lot of times when people start businesses, especially most of them start on their own, they don't have a team, and then they might be adding a person here or there, but you don't really get education in leadership per se too. So it's hard to know what to do all the time. So like, do you have any tips for someone who's saying like, okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure, how I am as a leader, but I definitely want to improve. Like, what can I do to even get started? And then if I think I'm doing okay, how can I get better?
The first one is to identify what type of leader you are. And in order to do that, you have to understand the types of leadership. So I'll give you the 6 that I use. There's a bunch of different modalities of leadership and stuff like that, but the 6 that I use in my own head are these. So the first one is a servant leader. Now, if you're not careful, you'll burn to the ground, right? Because when you do something well for everybody comes to you, and then you become the the person that everyone goes to, and that can be unsustainable very quickly. So you got to set boundaries, and that's a whole nother conversation. But servant leader is, I think, a great type of leadership. I really do. Number 2 is transactional. That's, I'll pay you money, you do this thing. There's a lot of that contract work, right? Get me these thumbnails, do these digital assets, whatever it is. Like, here's your contract rate, let's rock and roll. And we do some of that too. Okay, so transactional leadership, which is money for services. Then you've got participatory leadership. Participatory leadership is, let's us do it. We're going to do it together. Okay, that's participatory leadership, and that's good. You know, a lot of leaders who are the next one I struggle with. This is assertive leadership, which is, do it because I'm the boss. Do it because I said so. Very rarely do I need to play that card. As a matter of fact, the moment I play the CEO card is the moment I think I don't deserve it personally. All right, so those are the first 4. Then the next one is, I did participatory, I did servant, I did assertive, which is also known as dictator. I did transactional. And then there's 2 more. Delegative. Delegative is, I've been doing it. I'm going to delegate it to you, and I'm going to show you how to do it, but I'm going to have you do it. Okay? And then the 6th one, which is the one that I think most people aspire to, but maybe aren't as naturally inclined to, is the last one, which is transformational leadership. This is how you know you're meant to be a transformational leader. You're scared to be. If you're scared not to be, you're probably not. That's okay. Be an entrepreneur. Go to a company that you fit in and be a support player. That's wonderful. But if you're an entrepreneur and you really want to build something magnificent, you're scared of the social repercussions. If you're the first one and you're afraid that all of you is not enough, you most likely will never be a transformational leader until you face that fear. And then even then, it's going to be hard for you to lead the people who are afraid they're too much. And so hopefully that's a good leadership discussion. And they always ask, like, are leaders born or made? The truth is, now that I've been with Kev for 7 years, who is definitely afraid all of him is not enough, which is weird because he's amazing, right? But I've witnessed the differences between him and I, and that's where I've learned so much, because I feel like we both helped each other be well-rounded, because we both grew up without fathers. We learned through 1,700 episodes of talking about stuff like this, like, oh, okay, so you're never gonna be like me in that, no matter how hard you try. And I'm never gonna be like you in this, no matter how hard I try. But it doesn't mean we can't improve what we already are, which is what I used to say, last thing I promise. I used to coach people and think you can achieve this and become this. I don't do that anymore. I don't think that's true. You can uncover who you actually are, and then you can improve from there. You can improve that version, but you're not going to change yourself at your core. I don't believe that's true anymore, including me. Like, am I ever not going to be a science, technology, engineering, mathematics, business, and finance like mind who orients himself fully through structure and discipline and conscientiousness? No. Right? Kevin's never going to out-engineer me, and I'm never going to out-emotionally communicate to him. Like, he's a better communicator to emotionally driven people than I am. I'm a better communicator to engineers than he is. That's okay. Whatever you are, be a good one. And unfortunately, we all are jealous of each other. And we try to be like each other instead of just own who we really are. And that's what leadership is at its core, is own who you really are and be the best one you can be, and stop trying to be what society wants you to be, or what I want you to be, or what your spouse wants you to be. Like, you have to really own who and what you really are. Yeah.
So for someone who's listening, who's saying, okay, well, I want to get to where I'm able to succeed, and do better than I am now, do you have recommendations for some habits that they can adopt to consistently perform at that higher level?
100%. The first one is, so I have something called my Big 5 to Thrive, and it's unique to everyone. So I have 26 clients right now, all like early entrepreneurs, all the way to been in business for 12 years. Youngest is 16, which is awesome. I wish I had a coach at 16. And then the oldest is 63, and they're all over the world, all different countries and all that. And the Big 5 to Thrive is one of the principles. So anything in life, I think I figured out that it's like, there's principles that apply to all of us, but the way you apply those principles have to be entirely unique to you. It's that duality. And so to answer the question the big 5 to thrive is something that will work for everyone, but what you choose needs to be unique to your own goals, your own strengths and weaknesses, your own leadership style, your own circumstances, the context of what you value, that kind of thing. So if you value time, quality time with family, like don't decide to be a billionaire. It's just, there's only 3,200 on the planet. Like just don't. But if you do want to do something that's never been done in history because that's what you feel called to, I respect and admire that a lot. I think you should decide to be a billionaire or whatever, right? Okay, so the big 5 to thrive that I do is, and I've done it every day for all of 2024. And I basically took what I couldn't seem to get accomplished in 2023, and I was like, okay, 2024, I need to make it different. I can't do mobility to save my life, because we all have things that we procrastinate. We all have things that we struggle to do consistently. Everyone I coach, it's like this person never misses their finance tracking. This person never misses a workout. This person, none of them are both. All of us have a core few things that we never miss. And we're all jealous of the other people that like don't miss the thing we're missing, instead of just owning that everyone misses and procrastinates in certain areas, right? Most people either neglect their fitness, or they neglect their relationship, or they neglect their career. Like very few people don't neglect fitness, don't neglect their partner at all and their family, and don't neglect their career. Like it's very hard. If you do 1 in 1,000, if you're 1 in 1,000 in health, 1 in 1,000 in wealth, and 1 in 1,000 in love, you're 1 in a billion right there. And there's only 8 billion people on the planet. So not going to happen most likely if you're not unreasonably gifted and disciplined and dedicated. Okay. So the big 5 to thrive for me are writing 20 minutes a day, WhatsApp and email 20 minutes a day, because that's where I communicate with my team and my clients. Finance and sales 20 minutes a day. I'm the CFO now, and I got to track where money's coming from, where it's going, how much we still have, gas in the tank type of thing. And then the fourth one is mobility. I could not stretch to save my life in 2023. I just kept skipping it, right? It'd be like 2 days on, 2 days off. It'd be 5 days on, I'd fall off for a week, right? And then the last one was exercise. So I've exercised for 35 minutes a day, every day, for actually 2.25 years with my intimate partner. But the big 5 to thrive, I haven't missed a single one of those 5 in all of 2024. And those are the 5 that are required for my life to compound. And they flex and they change over time. But I have a streak going. I've done almost 6 months without a miss. What are the chances I'm going to miss today when I've got a streak of 6 months going? Not missing. I will not miss. But here's the thing. You can't choose 50. You have to, big 5 to thrive are like your 5 keystone habits that make the rest of the world go round. And by the world, I mean your world. And so that's the habits, the meta habit, which is basically a habit to keep your habits. But what you choose, I recommend going to what you suck at with love. Maybe you don't hydrate. So one of my clients, 2 liters a day. She's in the Philippines. It's really hot. Like you got to hydrate. For me, it's mobility. 10 minutes a day. I got to stretch. I already did my stretching first thing in the morning. Writing for me, I just struggle to write. I can do this all day, talk. Writing for me is brutal. I was not good at writing as a kid. I was in special reading classes because I didn't read and write well. Now I realize it's the modality of thinking in my brain. But those are the habits. Go to the fundamentals. I'm writing a book right now called The Unsexy Fundamentals. And it might not be a bestseller because, let's be honest, no one wants to learn the fundamentals. No one wants to read a book about hydrating well and sleeping well and that kind of thing. But the people who do, it'll be there. And I would say go to the unsexy fundamentals that you've been neglecting. That is the stuff that needs the most work.
Okay, perfect. So we are kind of focused on like some individual things too that they could be doing, to bring about success. But what about the companies too? Like what should they be doing to optimize their companies so their companies can also be successful?
So I have a whiteboard in my office that has this big iceberg on it, and the results are what people see, and then beneath the iceberg, it's a great metaphor. So I have metrics, habits, tools, tasks, systems, choices, skills, values, resources, awareness, beliefs, environments, influences, standards, and potential. And the results that you want in life, you kind of can't get unless you also want everything underneath it. And so to answer the fundamentals of a business, there's certain things that apply to every business, regardless of the industry, regardless of the goals, regardless of the products and services. And there are these 5 things. So I call it my business star. So I draw a star and then I do these 5. Bottom left all the way around the circle, 5 things. Again, another big 5 to thrive, but for business. Okay. So the big 5 to thrive, that was like for personal, and then big 5 to thrive for business. So branding, marketing, sales, delivery, and community. In the 21st century, I actually think business is very different than it was in the 20th century. And leadership definitely is too. More women in the workforce, more empathy, vulnerability, more about meaning and purpose. I mean, it's just different. It's awesome. And most of the old business literature, I've studied a lot of it. It's garbage in my opinion. But whatever. So let's go through each of those real quick. So these are the things, if you're a business owner, like check in on these. I rate my company with Kevin every week on these. All right. Branding is what people say about you and think about you when you're not there. Red Bull should not sell cars and Tesla should not sell energy drinks, right? Okay. So you got to stay true to who you are as a company and as an individual, because you can't win at being something you're not. You're never going to win at being something you're not, right? If you have an engineering brain, you're not going to win at opera. And if you're in opera, you're not going to out-engineer me. Bring it, right? It's not going to work. Okay. So branding is be who you are, personal branding and company branding. Okay. And make sure that everything you put out there reflects that. Marketing, I think people get confused. To me, marketing is the messaging, the channels in which you actually communicate. So for us, it's like WhatsApp and Zoom and Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. Those are like the main ones. So it's like where you connect with your listeners, clients, community. And then what you actually connect on, like what is the message? So our message for NLU, Next Level University, is holistic self-improvement, health, wealth, life, and love in your pocket from anywhere on the planet, completely free. Build a bigger, better, brighter future. Get to the next level with us. Like that's the philosophy underneath the company. Every company has a philosophy underneath it, right? So Nike, I honor great athletes and great athletics. Apple, tools in the hands of passionate people can change the world. Like there's a philosophy and a belief system underneath all this, and most people don't understand that. So that's branding and marketing. And then you have sales. Sales is only as good as the branding and marketing. And a lot of people in today's era think that they can market stuff and then like convert from cold to like paid. Sales is where it wins. Branding and marketing is priming the reticular activating system, building a relationship with people, being in the consciousness, the cognitive real estate of other people's minds. So like when I say NLUians, all the people that listen to NLU know that I'm talking about them. And that's building an unconscious community. And so when we come out with a new product and we talk about it, and then I have a real meaningful conversation with that person, they actually buy it. Not, by the way, not to make money, but to help them. Okay. I believe in service first. I believe in this. Growth first, service second, profitability third. It has to be third. Most companies are profitability first, which I actually think is devastatingly bad for the world, because that's wanting something for nothing. Service first, profitability second. Like I make your life better first, then you pay me, which makes my life better too. And then I reinvest that in my company, which makes us able to serve more people at a better quality, right? And that's how the whole world improves, in my opinion. Okay, so branding, marketing, sales. Sales is one-on-one conversations with actual prospects who are interested in your core values and have similar goals and dreams. Okay, delivery. If you can't deliver on the promise, don't make the promise. And it's so brutal because most people on the internet right now, it's been so devastating. I was so naive in this podcasting space because I came from corporate and I learned about the world and I got depressed. And then I came into the self-improvement space and I was naive and young and I was like, yeah, this is going to be better. This is going to be less liars. And yeah, a lot of people are completely and utterly full of it. And you have to be really careful because some people are selling you the quick fix that doesn't exist. that took them 2 decades behind the scenes to do, and or they just are purely lying. That's been alarming. How many people are just flat out lying, right? Buying followers, buying Instagram accounts, buying, right? I mean, it's just buying reviews. You have 450 reviews on your podcast and they're all 5-star. Really? Okay. So anyways, be careful. But delivery means you can actually deliver on your promise. So I promise my clients that they will long-term make more money that they invest in me than they invest in the coaching. Okay. That's a promise I can deliver on. But if I'm charging $5,000 per session, I can't deliver on that promise. That's just lying. No, you're not going to make that money back. Certainly not this month, right? Depending on what size of your business. Obviously, if it's a $1 billion business, of course I could, but okay. Fast forward, last one. Community. I mean, real people in the real world in a really meaningful way. We have 750 people in our community, and it's taken 7 years of one-on-one conversations with our listeners to actually build that. It has been alarmingly difficult, but it's paid off in such amazing ways. We have a 10-pound and 10-week challenge going right now. It's helping me lose weight. I'm in there every day saying, hey, here's my weigh-in, and they're in there, and everybody's showing their weights, and everyone's motivating each other, inspiring each other, and educating each other. It's awesome. But it's taken a really long time, and a lot of people are all about scale. And unfortunately, when you're one-on-one in a free call with a listener, it's not scalable. You just have to put in the work. And so if you're the whole I want to work less and earn more thing, you better be 10 to 20 years already into business, because that's not really a thing if you have integrity and don't want to lie.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, we're getting to the end of our time together. So if someone wants to connect with you, how would they find you? And do you have anything you want to share with them?
First of all, thank you again. I really appreciate it. You created a very safe space for me to try to add as much value as possible. For anyone listening or watching, if your inclination was to villainize me, I understand. I used to be scared of that in the past. But I hope that I helped you think differently. That was really my goal, is anyone who's listening, I'm going to help you think differently, and I'm going to help you achieve more success and fulfillment. And if I have to be hated or disliked on the other end of this microphone in order to do that by some of you, that is what I've decided within myself I'm willing to do. And so thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I've sharing my true self has often not gone well. So, but anyways, so where can you find me? We have a website called nextleveluniverse.com, spelled just like it sounds, Next Level Universe. And everything's on there. We've got 21 departments. We've got a charity for boys without fathers, single parents now, actually. And we got all kinds of stuff going on. We've got a monthly meetup. We've got book club every week. We've got journal. We do a dreamlining journal that we do, all kinds of stuff. We also have a podcast called Next Level University, not to be confused with the website, which is Next Level Universe. So Next Level University, learn how to level up your life, love, health, and wealth. Bigger, better, brighter future. 1% improvement in your pocket every day. We do an episode every single day. And these aren't 3-minute episodes. These are 20 to 40-minute episodes every single day with Kevin and I. So that's just a mentor in your pocket every day. Imagine what you could be capable of with a coach in your pocket every day. Very, very cool. And then if you want to email me, you can email me alan@nextleveluniverse.com. Just please provide context, because like all of us, I get a lot of spam mail.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Alan, for being a guest on my show and sharing your experiences and, kind of what you've learned and helping entrepreneurs, get to their peak performance as well.
Thank you, Candy, for having me. This was awesome. This was an honor, and I do not take that lightly. Reach out anytime. Thank you.
Perfect. And to the guests, thank you so much for listening, and be sure to check out our resources to find any links or any other information that would help you on your journey to success. Thank you for tuning in today. Would you please share this episode with those you know and leave a review on your favorite platform? And if you find our show informative, would you consider being a financial sponsor to help me continue my mission to educate business owners? A link is located in the episode description, and no amount is too small. I'd really appreciate your support. If you are interested in connecting with our guest and receiving the offer they had to share, a link to our resource page is in the show notes. Finally, if you have any bookkeeping or payroll needs, reach out to us at 310-534-5577 or contact@abandp.com. My team and I are eager to assist you. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.